This is a public announcement. Mojave County residents. There is a propagandistic campaign being waged against Supervisor Ron Gould and the Mojave County Board of Supervisors, and it is time the public knows the truth. First, let's establish something that many residents may not be aware of. The Board of Supervisors are fully responsible for everything that occurs in Mojave County's public libraries. That means all of it. The safety of every patron who walks through the door, the behavior of patrons, noise levels, cleanliness of the facilities, potential criminal activity on library grounds, policy enforcement, and yes, the materials that are accepted into the collection. This is not an opinion. This is fact. The supervisors are accountable to you, the tax-paying public, for every aspect of how those libraries are run. So when someone steps up to a public podium and accuses Supervisor Ron Gould of banning books and violating free speech, they are either unaware of how county governance actually works, or they are deliberately misleading you. Either way, the community deserves the truth.
Mr. Chairman, my assistant was looking through the list of books that are that have been donated to go into the public library system, and she didn't get a chance to go through all of them. So I'm going to ask you to continue this item for 30 days. And so I'm going to ask you to continue this item for 30 days. And so I'm going to ask you to continue this item for 30 days. And
here's what actually happened. Supervisor Ron Gould was specifically asked to review a donation valued at approximately $20,000. Because of the significant dollar amount, this donation exceeded the threshold for routine acceptance and required supervisor-level review. This is standard procedure, not a political act, not censorship, and certainly not a book ban. During that review, Supervisor Gould identified material he determined to be inappropriate for a publicly funded children's library collection. He acted accordingly. That is not overreach. That is exactly what he is supposed to do.
The books Ron Gould wants to ban generally fall into two broad categories. The first is Japanese manga. Even popular series like My Hero Academia and Soul Eater are targeted for removal.
My name is Davis, and I'm stupid.
Targeted for removal.
Hi, I'm Joanne, and for as long as I can remember, I've been a stupid person.
Targeted for removal.
I'm Skip, and my parents are both stupid. I'm stupid, and my grandson is stupid.
If you go up to my office, you will see a large cartoon that hangs on the wall.
Supervisor Ron Gould rejected sexually inappropriate books for children in our libraries. Approximately 15 books were found to be geared towards young readers, as young as 8, with gay, trans, non-binary, pansexual, demisexual, etc. storylines. An additional book related to fallen angels having human relations in an abusive and explicit manner with a minor was also found. Bridget Lewison mentioned a religious leader in her rant. Would her choice of quotes, used by the men she quoted, agree with the sacrilegious influence on our children, agree with her theatrical play for sympathy?
Hi, Bridget Lewison, Golden Valley. A true patriot defends the right to free speech, even if he disagrees. John Wayne.
Oh my.
To control the content of libraries, the Communist Party in China employs strict guidelines on what materials are deemed acceptable or unacceptable, requiring books to undergo an approval process before being included in libraries.
Wow.
Censorship is a slippery slope that leads to tyranny. Ronald Reagan.
You, sir, are an idiot.
In Iran, books must receive approval from the Ministry of Culture and Islamic Guidance before they can be published and distributed.
People are slandering against me.
The marketplace of ideas thrives on open dialogue, not suppression.
Huh?
The government has significant control over media and information, including books.
What?
And has the authority to censor books in libraries.
Oh.
Censorship is a tool of oppression. Joseph Smith.
Okay.
In Saudi Arabia, The government regulates the approval of books through the Ministry of Media, which reviews and evaluates books to ensure compliance with regulations.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Censorship is not just a political issue, it's a fundamental threat to democracy, Sean Hannity.
I mean, the amount of attacks on Facebook and others is just overwhelming.
Without free speech, there is no such thing as truth. The moment you silence opposing voices, you destroy the foundation of democracy. Charlie Kirk.
It is also worth noting that library management rejects donated materials every single day. Worn-out books, outdated magazines, damaged items, and materials deemed unsuitable. Is this a banning of books? This is routine library administration. Nobody calls it a ban when the library director turns away a box of old encyclopedias.
This political hit cartoon, along with a political hit piece, appeared in all the newspapers in my district. I then had the cartoon blown up to about a 2 by 3 foot poster that hangs on my office wall.
The same standard applies here. The children of this community deserve protection. 100% protection. Our children are our future, and it is the solemn responsibility of every elected official in this county to ensure their safety in our schools, on our streets, and yes, in our public libraries. Supervisor Gould acted to protect children. Local police have been called to the library for many incidents of disruption. They are there to protect patrons. There was a bomb scare just last year. Does these incidents have anything to do with the issue at hand? Maybe not, but they sure as hell have everything to do with whatever happens at the libraries being connected to our supervisors. And Bridget Lewison is way out of line. She makes no sense in her drama, except that it has caused a public outcry and false accusations of censorship. The responsibility to take care of our children deserves support, not a smear campaign. What does not deserve support is the conduct of an individual who stood before this community, made inflammatory accusations, called our supervisors unpatriotic, invoked free speech in a context where it does not apply, and deliberately stirred up outrage based on misinformation. There is no free speech issue here. The book in question is available on Amazon, in bookstores, and through numerous other retailers. And if Ms. Lewison wants so badly to provide her children with these types of books, I'm sure she can walk into any pornographic bookstore and get them. But this particular book, it has not been, quote, banned, unquote, from anywhere. It simply was not added to a taxpayer-funded public library collection, a decision well within the authority of the supervisors who are accountable to you. This individual caused an unnecessary uproar in our community by spreading false allegations and misrepresenting how county government works. That is propaganda, plain and simple. Mojave County residents, know your facts. Support your supervisors for protecting you and your children. And do not let misinformation go unchallenged. Furthermore, people need to understand what censorship is. No one is banning books. It appears that Lewison is generating controversy in Mojave County, maybe because her LinkedIn account identifies her as a journalist who's been employed by the Riverside Press Enterprise, who now owns a marketing business in Mojave County and in Nevada. The county should be aware that no one is stopping the production of books, or banning books, as Lewison dramatically states. It is at the discretion of the library to accept what books they want placed in their establishment. They decide what is to be placed inside. And the board is deciding whether or not to accept a donation, as they are authorized under ARS 11914. But here's a great question for Bridget Lewison, the Riverside Press Enterprise journalist. Is it okay to discuss heterosexual sex to an 8-year-old? And does she know for certain NAMBLA isn't behind the push for sexual discussions with young children? And as a private individual, Lewison can read whatever sexually explicit material she wants in the privacy of her own home. But the library is a governmental institution. The library must accommodate everyone, not just Lewison. Here's another interesting issue going on concerning Supervisor Ron Gould, There's a so-called private investigator named Michael Boone, who actually changed his name for some weird reason.
Michael Boone,
who has been following Gould all over Mojave County. If you have done your research, you would know that this private investigator used to work for porno star Ron Jeremy. And unfortunately, Michael Boone has been exposed in a very negative manner, massively by American Crime Journal, who posted that, quote, Boone failed to mention the numerous liens against him, judgments for non-payment, back taxes, and lawsuits, together exceeding $1 million, unquote. There is much information on American Crime Journal in regards to the so-called private investigator who has parked himself in Mojave County attacking Doug Schuster every chance he has.
Very good. Well, let me just start by thanking everybody for taking the time tonight to listen. I know it's been eventful. It's been an hour and a half. I've been following the comments. And this is, when I look at the comments, ironically, I laugh because this is why I don't do social media. You know, people that have fictitious accounts and they want to throw out their little slanders. I see a friend of mine, Michael Boone's on there. He's been against me for 4 years, and they're just trying to skew the facts.
The link to American Crime Journal will be in the description box. And in regards to Michael Boone, the so-called private investigator, instead of keeping his business private as an honorable and professional I should do, this little guy is posting his escapades all over the internet. He's literally publishing how he has been following Ron Gould all around Mojave County and seems to be upset that Ron Gould isn't giving him the time of day. In fact, Michael Boone was identified as a Karen by an observer. The county should wonder why Lewison, who is identified as a Democrat on her My Life account, is living in a Republican conservative county. It is interesting that the materials that are being rejected by the supervisors are pornographic in nature. By the way, what else does Michael Boone got his hands in Mojave County? Is he in control of a process server business? And has he ever given out legal information to his friends prior to them being served? Have he ever had other people dox his enemies or given out private information that he was entrusted with? If you are a researcher, you really need to do a little bit of research on this person because his ex-girlfriend of 3 years claims that he is not a good person. And as far as Bridget Lewison is concerned, she should know what censorship is because she's a journalist. So, what is her motive for coming to a Board of Supervisors meeting looking all disturbed and accusing the supervisors of censorship? Bridget Lewison claims that she was a journalist, but a real journalist would never deliberately twist a procedural request into a vicious, coordinated misinformation propagandistic campaign. The entire audience heard Ron Gould specifically state on 3 separate occasions that he wanted to continue this item for further review 30 days down the line. And SONNY BORRELLI seconded that motion. So why did Bridget Lewison twist what he said? That behavior is identical to what is commonly known as provocation causing chaos. Is Bridget Lewison an agent provocateur? Are her associates who are posting propaganda agents too? How does Ron Gould's suggestion to move the issue forward 30 days for review turn into a book banning incident? And who put Miss Lewison up to such a theatrical play? Who's really behind this political hit on Ron Gould? The community needs to demand answers.
And I would like to move that we continue this item for 30 days to allow myself and my staff to take a hard look at these books that are going into our library system. We need to make sure, if we're trying to encourage children to use the library, the things that are in the library should be acceptable to their parents. That I don't think is acceptable. So my motion is to continue this item for 30 days.
Thank you, Supervisor. Do I have a second? Second. Additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes appear to have it. Do have it, so ordered. Thank you.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.